Do you know that there's a special connection between geography and technology? For me, geography is the why in our world, and technology is the way of exploring the world. Hi everyone, my name is Grace, and I love magic, but not the one with cars and rabbits. I use geography to unlock the secrets of the world because I love studying maps, figuring out how mountains affect weather, or why some places grow certain crops. It's not just memorizing names, it's about understanding how our planet connects to people's lives. That understanding became real when I was climbing the Alps. As I went higher, I saw the forest change. Right then, the map lines turned into real boundaries in front of me. I saw the why some areas are good for farming while others are not, and how mountains are shaping where people can live. It was like seeing nature's rules at work. And new technology makes it even cooler. I play with 3D farm apps and try out simple weather tools to connect tech with what I learned in geography. I have a strong sense of how geography and technology are shaping the global agriculture, and I believe agriculture can change from roots to wings. My grandfather lived through famine. When I was little, I used to sit with him and listen to his stories. Times when he had to eat tree bark to survive, and that tasted really bitter. Back then, every grain of rice was like treasure. Those stories stuck with me. They taught me something important. Agriculture isn't just a job or an industry. It's the foundation of how we live, grow, and survive as human beings. Today, we're standing at a critical crossroad. The world's population is still growing. By 2050, we will need 70% more food, and that's what groups like UN Food and Agricultural Organization predict. But at the same time, climate change is damaging farmland, and water is becoming harder to find. But here's the good news. New technology isn't just a simple tool for farming anymore. It's a bridge that connects what the earth gives us, our geography, to what we truly need. I want to show you how this works by looking at 3 typical countries with completely different geographic characters: the US, India, and China, to show you how this works with an idea: redefine the land itself. But first, we need to understand the context. Let's start with the United States. It is known as the breadbasket of the world. Picture a bread and imagine that there are lots of good qualities coming out from it. It has a good combination of rich soil, rainfall, and farming. You can look at America's Central Plains from above. And that's what shapes America's farming identity: efficiency. Decades ago, the US has already used machines for everything from seeding to harvesting. Now, they've moved to smart farming. For example, a farmer in Iowa uses a GPS-guided tractor that plants seeds with less than 10 centimeters of error. Sensors in the soil check nutrient levels and the water, so crops only get watered when they really need it. Some farmers can manage 8,000 hectares of land, and that was like 11,000 football fields with just a few people. Geography shows America's scale, and technology turned that scale into unmatched efficiency. But not every country has such favorable geography. Take India. Farmland there is like a patchwork quilt. Wheat up north near the Ganges River, jute in the east, tea and coconut down south. Most farms are small, under 2 hectares, handed down in families. What makes it even harder is the monsoon. Some years bring drought, others bring flood, and this broken up and instability is India's biggest challenge. But challenges lead to creative solutions, especially the ones that help small farmers bounce back. In Rajasthan, a state famous for its desert, farmers there used to rely entirely on rain. A single drop could wipe out their income. But now they use micro-irrigation, thin tubes that deliver water directly to the roots of the plants. This approach cuts water use and keeps crops safer. India has also developed GM cotton that resists pests. Before, cotton farmers had trouble with bugs like the whiteflies, cotton bollworms, even the dry weather. Now they grow more and even export cotton. But also, GM cotton faces ongoing issues. For example, some bugs have developed resistance, forcing farmers to spend more on both the pesticides and the seeds. Geography shows India obstacles, but technology shows India opportunities. Mobile apps and satellite tips help small farmers cut their costs, and the smart irrigation saves almost half the water use and keeps crops safer, even in dry years. These tools help millions of farmers cope with climate change. And now let's turn to China. China has a completely different geographic character. We had less than 40% of the world average farmland per person. So that means for each person, there's only 0.13 football fields of farmland to grow food. More people, but less land. And that's what shapes Chinese farming. So our technology focuses on getting the most out of every bit of land. In Heilongjiang, by the end of 2024, it uses over 39,000 drone spraying pesticides, covering the area of 37 million hectares, 30 times faster than just by hand. In Shandong, smart greenhouses use LT systems to control humidity, temperature, and light. Even in winter, these greenhouses produce 4 times more tomatoes than the open field farming. And in dry places like Gansu, drip irrigation has turned the barren land into vegetable fields. Farmers used to depend on the weather. Now they depend on technology, and the harvest is steady. We use technology to unlock the potential from limited land. So, what does this mean for us today? We're not just talking about improvements. We are talking about a transformation of the planet itself that was once the stuff of science fiction. Let me give you an astounding example. In China, for decades, we've been fighting a war against the desert, and we're winning. Since the 1950s, where the Northwest China was called the land of death, where there was no wind in the sky and no grass on the ground. But now, after generations of hard work and a smart mix of new technology and traditional methods, we are turning the boundless desert into an oasis and creating a miracle of human conquering the desert. Here's a clip about the process and what a forest engineer says in China.
这个造链是要根据我们当地的就是气象条件，包括水的情况进行造链。通过实验以后呢，我们的这个1亩地呢，扎草方格呢是667个格，我们只在它的1/3。那么剩下的2/3呢，我们就通过种草，来能通过绿化以后使沙漠变成绿洲。
I think it is one of the best example and model for other people around the world. They can remodel it and practice in their own lands, and then at the end of the day, all of us will see that desert, so it's a place that we found it to be uninhabitable, can be transformed to benefit all of us and for the future generation.
Now, an area of desert of 4.3 million hectares has been reclaimed and turned green. As you may see from the video, the process began by stabilizing the sand. We use straw grids to break the wind and hold the sand together. And in some areas, using an eco-friendly material to bind the surface sand together. Once the desert was fixed, we moved to planting. Drones sow seed efficiently across large areas, and the drip irrigation has delivered water directly to the plant's roots, cutting water use by over 60%. Drought-resistant crops were chosen for their ability to survive in harsh conditions. And finally, new technologies are used to sustain and protect the new green land. Sensors monitor the health of the soil and the vegetation. To make these projects last, local people grow valuable crops like goatseed berries under solar panels. This approach generates clean energy, provides shade, and allows for farming, creating a win-win situation for both the economy and the environment. The method we use to turn the Banyan Desert into an oasis in China can also be applied in other parts of the world, such as in South Africa and the Middle East. This could help fight desertification and reduce the global food shortages. But we can go even further. In big cities like Shanghai and Chongqing, we are developing vertical farms, growing crops inside tall buildings using no pesticides, less water, and producing much more food per square meter than the traditional farms. By combining geography with technology, we are growing crops inside buildings that was once thought unsuitable. Of course, we must also consider some challenges. For example, does vertical farming use too much water? Actually, technology itself provides solutions, such as water recycling systems and the water-saving irrigation, that greatly reduce water use. And this brings me to my idea we're spreading, which may lead agriculture's development from roots to wings. The next frontier of agriculture isn't just on land. It's in redefining the very concept of the land itself. Maybe we can create farms on the oceans or use empty areas on the sea to grow food. Imagine that there are vertical farms in the big cities, smart green lands in the boundless desert, even floating farms on the water, all working together. By combining geography with technology, we can return some of the farmland back to nature. So, does anyone have other ideas? How about if farming no longer need big fields, then we can turn those extra areas into parks or forests or something totally new. We are developing a new information and a new agriculture. By combining geography with technology, again, we're not just growing crops. We're learning to work with our planet in better ways. We have already have the tools to change the world. The question is, no longer can we do it, but how and where we should. My grandfather's generations farmed by hand with great effort. Our generation can work with innovation and the new technology, but we also carry the responsibility to do it sustainably. Geography shows where we start, but technology, cooperation, and our vision will determine where we end up. Let's work together toward a future where no one suffers from hunger and everyone can enjoy a world of plenty. Thank you.